Hey guys, Mike here. So today I'm here to talk to you about Widows. In this review I'll be going over a brief summary of the plot, my quick thoughts about the film and whether or not you guys should go and see it. So I'm going to try and keep this review spoiler free. However, if you don't want to know anything about the film and you want to go completely blind, then let's just come back to this video once you've seen the film. So with that, let's get started, shall we?
Why? Because no one thinks we have the balls to pull this off.
So before actually seeing this movie, I booked it 4 separate times. The reasons I wasn't able to see it is because work carried on a bit late and I had other obligations. But finally, I've now seen this movie and I can now talk to you about it. So Widows stars Viola Davis as Veronica. You may remember her from Suicide Squad and from her Oscar-winning performance in Fences. So, in Widows, a heist led by Liam Neeson's character ends up going wrong where he and the rest of his crew end up getting brutally murdered. So because of this, Viola Davis's character decides to get together all the other widows to finish off one of the heists that Liam Neeson's character had pre-planned to basically leave them with enough money to live. So first of all, as I'm going through this movie, I'm thinking that it just reminds me of a more gritty and realistic version of Ocean's 8. Gritty in the sense that people are actually in danger and actually could die. So first of all, Viola Davis and pretty much everyone else in the movie give really good performances. Everyone's believable, everyone's entertaining, everyone's watchable, and you can really relate to their problems. With possibly the notable exception of Colin Farrell. Now, I love Colin Farrell, I think he's a really good actor, but unfortunately, his Chicago accent in this movie is really bad. Now, as you can tell, I'm not from Chicago, but I imagine that a Chicago accent doesn't really sound like an Irish accent, which for the most part you can really hear Colin Farrell switch in and out of throughout the entire duration. Don't get me wrong, his performance is good, but his accent is really distracting and really takes away from his performance. Not making it bad, but definitely worth noting. But as well, another performance I want to talk about is Daniel Kaluuya. Now, while he is good in Get Out and definitely deserved an Oscar nomination, I found that in a lot of his other roles, if not pretty much all the ones I've seen him in, he just has this one facial expression. And he very rarely deviates from that, so immediately he just becomes uninteresting to watch. While on the surface he is giving a good performance, it just becomes really distracting when all you can see him doing is this. Now, there is a lot of build-up in this movie to get to the actual heist itself, but while there is a lot of build-up, it's definitely necessary and it feels more realistic than probably most movies. But also having said that, they could have picked up the pace just a little bit. I mean, we all know this isn't real life, so you can take liberties and kind of speed things up a bit. Now, the movie is directed by Steve McQueen, who directed 12 Years a Slave, so you know, right off the bat, you've got a fairly decent director. And for the most part, this is directed really well and is a really well-made movie. But there were certain shots where I really called into question the necessity of them. I mean, maybe he was just going for something a little bit different, maybe they were foreshadowing something, maybe they had symbolism, but all I saw was just unnecessary shots of people talking and you couldn't really see them. All you could see was the outside of the car as it was driving. I don't know, like I said, maybe it had some hidden meaning, but I personally found it a bit distracting and a bit of an unnecessary choice. But you know, having said that, it's still a really well-directed movie. And as well, there were quite a few twists as well, which I legitimately didn't see coming. Overall, guys, the story's good, the acting's great, the direction's really good. Overall, this is a really interesting and entertaining movie to watch. While it's not pulse-pounding, entertaining every single second, there is a certain nuance in it where you can really just stop and really appreciate the characters' performances. Now, one of the biggest problems with this movie is the fact that Jon Bernthal's in it and he's barely used. I mean, the guy always gives 110%, whether he's got a small role, whether he's got a big role. I mean, the guy is great in near enough everything he does, and for that reason, he's one of my favourite actors. So Hollywood, take notes, use Jon Bernthal more. Okay guys, that's my review of Widows. If you've seen it, what did you think about it? And what's your favourite movie where someone takes over a job? Whatever it is, drop it in the comments below, and until next time, I've been Michael. See ya!